They were undone. The Avengers, once Earth's mightiest heroes, lay in ruins after internal tragedies and devastating battles. But evil doesn't wait. When chaos erupts in the most secure prison on the planet, the paths of unlikely heroes cross, not by choice, but by necessity. An unprecedented breakout unleashes the world's most dangerous minds. And from the ashes of collapse, sparks emerge, of what might become a new era. Today's theme is the new Avengers. And it all begins with an escape. At Rikers Island, the maximum security prison for supervillains, the tension is thick even when everything seems in order. Luke Cage visits Foggy Nelson, who's there for a legal meeting, while Matt Murdock nervously observes the security protocols. Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, is also nearby, working under S.H.I.E.L.D. orders to investigate potential system flaws. Nothing seems to indicate the looming disaster, but the concentration of supercriminals in that space is a ticking time bomb. The heroes, each for different reasons, are drawn to the same location, about to become the new epicenter of chaos in the Marvel Universe. The narrative begins by planting seeds of unease, hinting that the next few pages will ignite a new era for the Avengers, or perhaps their end as we know them. Without warning, a violent explosion rips through the cold prison corridors. The lights go out, doors unlock, and the impossible happens. A riot breaks out among the world's most dangerous villains. Electro, taking advantage of the electrical collapse, releases dozens of inmates, including the lethal Carnage. Foggy is trapped in the chaos while Luke Cage and Matt Murdock try to protect civilians and understand what's happening. S.H.I.E.L.D. is activated, but unprepared for such a coordinated assault. Spider-Woman intervenes, facing threats from all sides. The scene becomes a hellscape of energy, screams, and destruction. What was meant to be an unbreakable prison becomes a war zone. The world doesn't know it yet, but the birth of the new Avengers begins right here, in the middle of anarchy. The silent war turns into a scream that can't be ignored. Out of the destruction rise familiar faces, but not yet as a team. Captain America appears in the chaos, coordinating a desperate attempt to contain the escapees. He joins Luke Cage, Spider-Woman, and Murdock in improvising a tactical resistance. However, there's mistrust, disagreement, and decisions made too quickly for diplomacy. The villains, led by Electro, continue their escape. Each hero tries to contain the threat as best they can, but there's no plan, no formal leadership. This is a proving ground where improvisation is the only weapon. Jessica reveals she has classified intel that might explain the attack, heightening the tension. Cap realizes he must assemble a new team, not just of strength, but of spirit and purpose. The classic Avengers era is over. What comes next will be darker, harder, but perhaps more necessary than ever. With the situation temporarily contained, the survivors assess the damage. Hundreds of villains have escaped. Among them, Purple Man, Vermin, and Sauron himself. The world is in imminent danger. Nick Fury, informed of the disaster, remains cryptic. S.H.I.E.L.D. shows cracks in its structure. Captain America feels the weight of responsibility. The Avengers were disbanded after previous catastrophic events, and now the absence of a cohesive team has come at a high cost. The idea of forming a new team is born, not out of protocol, but sheer necessity. Cage, Drew, and others are skeptical but understand the scale of the threat. Silently, the pieces of a new game board begin to move. There's no time for long ethical debates. War has arrived at civilization's doorstep, and only a new formation can stand against the chaos. Days later, atop Stark Tower, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers meet. The conversation is tense. Stark hesitates but agrees that the world needs Avengers again, different ones. People not just dressed in ideals, but willing to go beyond tradition. Spider-Woman presents reports naming escaped villains and clues pointing to an organization behind the attack. Luke Cage, though wary, agrees to attend an initial meeting. Something new is taking shape, a more diverse group, with members who won't always follow the same rules. The name, New Avengers, isn't spoken yet, but it hangs in the air. The final page shows a sunset over New York, and a shadow of hope rising from the wreckage. What was broken will be rebuilt, in its own way. And that's another page in the Heroic Chronicles. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and subscribe for more untold tales from the world of comics. There's always another hero, another villain, and another turning point waiting in the shadows. See you in the next chapter.